What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the CUO4 YouTube channel for the first match day review of the season. And a real topsy-turvy game. I mean, what a game to be doing the first review of the season. 6 goals in this tie. Of course, Carlisle United 3, Boreham Wood 3 was the final score. And really, I mean, welcome to the National League. You know, that if there was ever going to be a statement of what the National League is like, I think that was the game, to be honest. Brunton Park absolutely packed, 8,741, 45 away fans, which fair play. But a real National League game of football, I felt, between the two sides there. And I do want to give credit to Boreham Wood, to be honest, because I thought in large spells of the game they were the better team. I also think they did everything that they needed to do in the game and make the game a horrible game for Carlisle United. You know, there was lots of 50-50s, lots of shirt pulls, little kicks, little niggles, you know, just making the game a horrible game to play for Carlisle United. And, you know, every opportunity they had, they would slow the play down with a throw-in, they would take the time, they would go down with an injury or whatever, and just really slow the game to their pace and basically played the game on their terms, I thought, at times. Carlisle needed to be patient. In the game, I thought it was a vast improvement in the second half and the first half. The first half was an awful display from Carlisle. And I think you could see what they were trying to do in that first half, but there just wasn't any conviction in the passes. You would win the first ball, but then there was no second ball, there was no outlet. The long ball wasn't working, the players weren't in the positions to be able to do that. And then we stepped up a gear in the second half. At times, not all the time. And Boreham Wood in the end, a great performance from them. You know, just getting promoted as well. It's a real statement from them to be like, we didn't come here to just lie down. We're here to give you a game. Very impressed with Regan Linney. I thought Callum Whelan had a decent game as well. And I actually thought Jack Ellis had a really good game. But that might be more shadowed by the fact that Harper, Thomas and Hayden didn't have the best performance in defence. You know, I think Morgan Feeney will be a very welcome addition at the moment to that Carlisle backline. I think it was a very, as a lot of people, I think the defence is very shaky, doesn't strike confidence in a lot of people. Thomas and Hayden as two centre-backs I don't think works. You know, you're seeing the same mistakes that you were from last season. 8 of the starting 11 today played in that relegation team last year. But that defence just isn't doing it. And I don't include Jack Ellis in it. I thought Jack Ellis had a really good game. I thought he got himself about and he looked like a senior experienced player in some of the tussles he was going in for. But as a defensive two, the Thomas and Hayden, I don't think it's working. I'd like to see Bevis come in on Tuesday night. And of course, Feeney in the long one. I'm not going to throw Paul Huntington into that, but, you know, it would be an option, and I think it would be a good option as a leader on and off the pitch. But I'm a bit nervous with them two at the back, I'll be honest. And I don't think it was their best performance. But Carlisle, coming into the game unchanged as expected, to be fair. I thought Boreham Wood settled into the game very well in that first 10 minutes. And they didn't really cause Carlisle any problems in that first 10 minutes, but they kept possession well. They moved the ball well. There was a clear transitional play from them, where the fullbacks are bombing forward, which then invites the midfield, which I thought their midfield completely overran our midfield. And I know a lot of the focus is on the defensive side today, but I think the midfield still is a bit of an issue. I think we've got bags of goals. You know, Kelly Armstrong, Linney, and then if Embleton can get firing, that's a very good top four. But the midfield did look a little bit weak. Boreham Wood outplayed us in that midfield. But as I say, in that first 10 minutes, they didn't really trouble us in front of goal, but they settled into the game. They're much better. Carlisle looked a little bit nervous. Here and there was a decent header from Aaron Hayden early on from a corner. He just headed it just a little bit wide. And then there's some brilliant play from Boreham Wood's number 7, and Thomas comes in with a last-ditch tackle, which their play would have been through on goal if he didn't do that. So it was a very very good tackle from Thomas, and then some great footwork from Elliot Embleton driving into a bit of space. The finishing was just a little bit poor. He put it well over and wide. I think he had more time than he thought he had in the situation, but some good work to drive into that space from Embleton, who looks like a complete different player this year, different attitude and everything. So that is good to see. And then I'm not really sure how Luke Armstrong didn't get a goal. It was a poor call, and to be fair, and Armstrong's made the most of it. And the keeper's pushed it onto the post, so it hit the post, hit the keeper. It stayed out somehow, I'm not sure how, but Luke Armstrong unlucky there. And then Luke Norris, I said he was a one to watch in the 5-minute preview. 5-minute previews will be up every single game week. Don't forget to check them out. But yeah, Luke Norris, I said he would be a one to watch, and he's played through. And it's a decent finish to put Boreham 1-0 up. Carlisle looked sluggish. They looked slow getting back into the game, getting back into the play. Luke Norris, an experienced striker, is always going to put that into the back of the net. And Boreham took a deserved lead, to be fair, into half time. We changed it up a little bit at half time. George Kelly came on, and it was a really good play and hold up play from George Kelly, and then he strikes it into the bottom corner to make it 1-1. I think it was about 4 minutes after coming on. He made a difference to George Kelly. And I mean, as I was saying earlier on, the Sherpas, the 50-50s, George Kelly is very good at making them fouls go in his favour. He's very intelligent with that hold up play and everything. And then just a couple of minutes later, the crowd was getting up to it, and there was a great low crossing by Embleton, and McAdams just fires over. He's just sliding in, can't quite get the contact that he wanted. But Carlisle United, massive. They went from first to fourth gear in about 5 minutes of that second half, and then there's some fantastic build-up play with Harper and Elliot Embleton. The release is Regan Linney with some great footwork. Gets the shot away, and then it goes into the back of the net for 2-1. It sort of come off their defender on the line, but I think it was going in anyway. But Linney, if you watch the compilation, my compilation on the channel, or just any compilation of Regan Linney, you know that he's going to cut in. You know that he's got that touch-type footwork and everything. You know what he's going to do. And I'm really impressed with Regan Linney today. With that ability and that characteristic, which I think we've been missing for a long time with Carlisle United, that striker that's going to cut in, take on 2-3 players, then smash your top corner. We haven't had that in a while. I know obviously we've had good strikers. You look at Tristan Dennis will be the first example with 20 goals, but he was just in the right place at the right time. Regan Linney can create an opportunity from nothing. But I was really impressed with him today. He made it 2-1. And then there's a lovely ball from Callum Whelan. He knocks it on to McAdam, who plays a lovely low cross, but unfortunately just goes all the way through. It was the right choice. It was just unlucky that there was nobody there. There was nobody there to convert it. And then there's a brilliant through ball by Embleton, just cuts the defence with that through ball, and their play just gets a little nick on it, and Armstrong would have been through, but good defending from them to get that nick. And again, Embleton, different attitude, looks a different player, looks really good in that sort of centre attacking mid-centre forward role, playing off an Armstrong, playing off a Linney. So yeah, it's good to see with Embleton. Obviously there was a bit of humming and hawing about him last season, so that's great to see. And then Regan Linney, that man, I mean, we just spoke about it, the ability to cut in, the ability, to get them shots off, to get that effort off. What a goal from Regan Linney to make it 3-1. He cuts inside, and then it's the most top bins of top bins. It's a curling effort right into the top corner. I mean, it's such a brilliant goal from Linney, and hopefully he gets a lot more of them throughout the season. But what a play we have on our hands there with Regan Linney, and that put Carlisle 3-1 up, and Carlisle from there just played the game out. Nothing much happened, they just kept the ball professionally, kept Boreham Wood away from our box, and we just comfortably seen the game out 3-1, and it was great to see. Oh wait, it's not what happened. Let's get into the actual event, shall we? There was a loop and cross come shot which Breeze done well to sort of tip it over the bar, but then a couple of minutes later, it's again Luke Norris, the one to watch, who I said to keep an eye out for. A very experienced player, free header, too much space, too much like last season, I wrote. Really poor defensively there to give Norris to give anyone a free header, but to give a striker who has the ability to score from that range is really poor. And again, it's just a miscommunication from the defence. They're just not talking to each other. It's the same mistakes we've seen in League One. It's the same mistakes we've seen in League Two. And we continue it in the National League, and it is a little bit disappointing. Of course it is. But, you would just hope that, 3-2, they've got the back up a little bit now, Boreham would, just see the game out. But then again, the same mistakes again and again. A free kick given. Thought the referee had a decent game overall. Thought it was a difficult game to manage. With all the 50-50s, the Sherpals, he probably got some wrong in our favour, he probably got some wrong in their favour, but I thought overall he had a really decent game, apart from the fact he looked like the split image of Mike Williamson. But the free kick comes in and it's a back post header. Again, just defence switch off, back post header, free. We just don't learn from our mistakes, unfortunately, and it's cost us a 2-goal advantage, which I don't think we should be giving up a 2-goal advantage. That they've been saying that let's make Brunton Park a fortress, and then we're 2 goals up against a newly promoted side and we're giving them away. It is disappointing, of course it is, but 3-3 at that point. There was a brilliant ball from Ethan Robson, great flick on to Regan Linney, who puts a cross in, but the goalkeeper deals with it well. And then the last talking point of the game, a cross comes in and it's fallen to Jack Ellis, but he's arriving late and the ball's always going wide, high and wide. It's never going to trouble the goalkeeper, and that was the game at 3-3. Disappointing to be 3-1 up and then, concede 2 goals to make it 3-3. I think Boreham Wood deserves a draw from the game, to be fair. I thought Boreham Wood, as I said earlier on, set up well. What I would like, though, and what I quite like about this result in a fashion, it's a very early wake-up call for Carlisle United. I would like to think that there was symbolic going on in the changing room afterwards for the goals we conceded and stuff like that. But I'm glad it's happened here. What my sort of worry was that we would go, say, 7-8 games unbeaten. We be winning games not comfortably but professionally, and then we take the trip down to York and get a real eye opener when York put a couple of goals past us and we didn't know how to react. So I'm glad it's happened early. It's happened now, and it's a wake-up call. We have an opportunity to put it right in 2 days' time, on Tuesday. We pick up a result against Solihull and then all is forgotten. Do you know what I mean? We reacted to that disappointing draw today. But I think a lot of people are jumping on a bit of a overreaction, to be honest. Yes, of course it is disappointing. We should see that game out. We should think, yes, I do believe that the defence needs improving. I still think we need another midfielder in there. The midfield's not the greatest, but in terms of the result, I hope it's a wake-up call early. You know what I mean? We're not going 10 games and then there's a horrible result in there and it's like, oh my God, what's happened there? This could be the shock that lights the fire type of thing, to be like, we need to see these games out if we're taking a three goal lead, a 2-goal lead, whatever it may be. It's not going to be as straightforward as we think it is. I said in my National League predictions when I put us fourth, I said there'll be some strange result along the way. You could put this down as a strange result. Boreham Wood, again, credit to them, but we probably should be beating Boreham Wood at home, and that's no disrespect to Boreham Wood. They came with a game plan and executed it very well in the end. But yeah, I hope it's a wake-up call. But the best thing is, as I say, we can now go again on Tuesday, 3 days from Saturday, 2 days from the time of me talking to you, and we can regroup. Hopefully, we can put in a performance against Solihull and we're all like, oh, great. But at the end of the day, Carlisle 4 points from a possible 6th to start of the season. It's not the worst. Obviously, it could be better, but it could be a lot worse. And yeah, promising signs from Carlisle today, attacking-wise. Of course, there's similar problems with the defence, but Hopefully we can rectify that. What did you think of the game? Were you there? Let me know in the comments down below. It was fantastic to see Brunton Park packed. Really weird to see the away fans sat right next to me, mind. But it was great to see Brunton Park packed. What are your thoughts on the game? Let me know in the comments down below. The 5-minute preview will be up later on today of the Solihull Moors game. Quick turnaround, so double upload for you guys there. And the match day in a minute will be live, probably Monday morning as well. So stay tuned for that. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for all the support on the channel recently, and I'll see you on Tuesday.